my name is Danny, and in this video, we're going to learn how to build chords. A chord in its simplest form is 3 notes played together, consisting of a root, a third, and a fifth. So let's jump in. Let's say I wanted to build a chord for G. First thing I need is a root, and the root is whatever note that you're building the chord off of, which is G. So the next note I'm going to need is a third. So if I start on G and I go up 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, I have a third, which is going to be B. And then a fifth will be D. Now there's different types of chords. We have major, minor, augmented, and diminished. So let's break down the major triad first. What makes a major triad major is the interval between the root and the third. If the interval between the root and the third is a major third, then the triad is major because the fifth stays the same. If the interval between the root and the third is a minor third, then the triad becomes a minor triad. Major and minor. Notice how the fifth stays the same in both major and minor. The next triad is what we call a diminished triad. To diminish something is basically to make it smaller. So I'm making the intervals smaller. So if I take a root, if I'm trying to build G diminished, I have my root. I'm going to have a minor third. And instead of a perfect fifth, I'm going to flat that and make it a diminished fifth. So I have a root, a minor third, and a diminished fifth. Another way to look at it is if I just have 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. G to B flat, minor third. B flat to D flat, another minor third. And our last triad is the augmented triad. And to augment something is just to make it bigger. So if I take a major triad and I raise the fifth, so instead of a perfect fifth, I have an augmented fifth, and I keep the major third, that's G augmented. And that formula works for any chord that you're trying to build. So a triad is basically a root, third, and fifth. And I like to call a root, third, and fifth my structure tones of a chord. It's your basic notes that give you the quality of a chord: major, minor, augmented, or diminished. If you're trying to add color to your note, all you're doing is adding more intervals to your triad. So if I'm trying to play a G major 7, all I'm doing is adding the 7th degree from G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is F sharp. And now I'm adding color to the structure of the chord, root, third, and fifth. So if I'm trying to play a G major 7, 9, I'm just continually adding intervals to the triad. Now that you guys know what a major chord, a minor chord, an augmented, and a diminished chord is, let's talk about building triads to each scale degree of a major scale. When we build triads off of each scale degree of a major scale, we have a default quality to each chord. Here's what this looks like. The 1 chord in every single major key is going to be a major triad. Let's take a look at the chord. We have a root, a major third, and a perfect fifth. That's our major triad. If we build a triad on the 2nd degree, that's a sad sounding chord. It's going to be minor. We have our root to our minor third and our perfect fifth. Our 3 chord is always going to be minor. Root, minor third, perfect fifth. Our 4 chord is always going to be major. Root, major third, and perfect fifth. Our 5th chord is always going to be major. Root, major third, and perfect fifth. Our 6th chord is always going to be minor. And our 7th chord, by default, is diminished. Root, minor third, and diminished fifth. Notice how our 1 chord, our 4 chord, and our 5 chord, all 3 are major. Those are our primary chords. The 3 major chords in a major key are called primary chords. The rest of the chords are called secondary chords. So 2 minor, 3 minor, 6 minor, and 7 diminished. The second chord is minor. The third chord is minor. The 6th chord is minor. And the 7th chord is diminished. Those are secondary to the primary chords. Root chord, which is the 1 chord, is major. The 4 chord is major. And the 5 chord is all major. As a church musician, it's important to memorize the different qualities in each major key. Each major key is going to be the same. The 1 chord is always going to be major. The 2 is minor. The 3 is minor. 4 is major. 5 is major. 6 is minor. 7 is diminished. The 1, 4, and 5 are your primary chords, and your 2, 3, 6, and 7 are your secondary chords. And that works for all 12 keys. Check out our next video as we dive into how to take the number system and apply that to what we do as worship musicians. Thanks for watching.